6 months. 6 fleeting months was all it took for a marriage, woven with dreams and vows, to unravel into a nightmare of betrayal, control, and bloodshed. On a quiet August morning in 2023, Emily Grace Harper, a 37 August morning in 2023, Emily Grace Harper, a 37-year-old mother, medical assistant, and dreamer, was gunned down in her Willow Creek home. The man who ended her life wasn't a faceless intruder or a vengeful stranger. It was James Ethan Carter, her husband of barely half a year. 15 bullets tore through her body as she clawed desperately for freedom, her final moments a haunting testament to the dangers lurking within the walls of love gone wrong. This isn't just a story of a marriage turned deadly. It's a piercing look at how systems designed to protect can crumble, how courage can ignite catastrophe, and how one woman's fight for freedom became her death sentence. Emily wasn't just a headline or a statistic. She was a beacon of warmth, a devoted mother of 3, a woman who lit up rooms and left a void that still aches in the hearts of those she touched. Her story demands to be told, not for shock, but for truth. Because behind the tragedy lies a question that haunts us all: how does love curdle into lethal rage? And why do the ones closest to us sometimes pose the greatest threat? Emily Grace Harper was born on June 6, 1986, in the heart of Willow Creek, Michigan, a city of tight-knit neighborhoods and unyielding spirit. From her earliest days, Emily carried a spark of promise, a quiet determination. 1986, in the heart of Willow Creek, Michigan, a city of tight-knit neighborhoods and unyielding spirit. From her earliest days, Emily carried a spark of promise, a quiet determination that would shape her life. At Cedar Grove High School, she was a standout, bright, focused, and fiercely independent. After graduating in 2004, she enrolled at Willow Creek Community College, chasing knowledge with the same tenacity she brought to every challenge. Her career was a testament to her heart. For over a decade, Emily worked as a medical assistant at Mercy General Hospital, where her compassion became her signature. Colleagues recall her steady hands calming anxious patients, her gentle smile easing their fears. But Emily's ambition stretched beyond the hospital walls. She earned a cosmetology license, dreaming of one day opening her own salon, a haven where clients would leave feeling not just beautiful, but empowered. She'd talk for hours about her vision: soft lighting, warm colors, and a space where everyone felt like family. It wasn't just a business plan, it was an extension of who she was. Emily's heart, though, belonged to her 3 children. Her eldest daughter, Sarah, was on the cusp of college graduation, a milestone Emily had tirelessly supported. Her son, Michael, was gearing up for his own college journey, while her youngest, Lily, was navigating the turbulence of high school. Every late shift, every extra course, every sacrifice, it was all for them. Emily rearranged her life around their needs, cheering at their games, celebrating their smallest wins, and teaching them the values she lived by: kindness, grit, and the courage to dream big. Even when life grew heavy, her love for them never wavered. Beyond her family, Emily was a pillar in Willow Creek. Neighbors knew her as the one who'd drop everything to help, whether it was organizing community cleanups or lending an ear during tough times. Her sister, Laura Bennett, described her as a force of nature, someone who could turn tears into laughter, who faced setbacks with grace, and who made kindness a reflex. Emily's warmth was a gift, one she shared freely, unaware that her own home would soon become a battleground. February 2023 should have been the start of a fairy tale. Emily stood radiant beside James Ethan Carter, exchanging vows before a crowd of loved ones. The day was alive with hope, laughter, music, and promises of forever. But beneath the surface, something darker was brewing. Within weeks, the man who'd pledged to cherish her began to tighten his grip, his love morphing into something suffocating, sinister. At first, it was subtle. James would question where Emily had been, his tone sharp with suspicion. He'd check her phone, accuse her of betrayals that existed only in his mind. What began as fleeting jealousy swelled into control. He demanded to know her every move, tried to sever her ties with friends, and cast a shadow over her once bright spirit. By April, just 2 months into their marriage, the arguments turned venomous. Emily confided in Laura, her voice trembling as she described James's rages, his threats, the way he'd loom over her, his eyes cold and unrecognizable. James's past, it turned out, was a map of warning signs. Court records later revealed a history of drug charges and firearm offenses stretching back to the early 2000s. There were whispers of violence, patterns of aggression that should have raised alarms. But to Emily, in those early days, he was the man she'd chosen, the one she believed she could build a life with. That belief would cost her everything. By May 2023, Emily knew she couldn't stay. The man she'd married was gone, replaced by someone who saw her as property, not a partner. She took a trembling but resolute step. She filed for a restraining order. The court granted it, barring James from contacting her, coming near her home on Maple Lane, or approaching her workplace. It was a lifeline, a legal shield she hoped would keep her safe. But paper protections are no match for a man unwilling to let go. The restraining order didn't stop James, it only stoked his fury. He hovered at the edges of her life, testing boundaries, watching from afar. Emily tried to rebuild, pouring herself into her kids, her job, her cosmetology dreams. But the weight of his presence lingered, a constant hum of fear she couldn't shake. By summer, she faced a truth she'd fought to avoid: the marriage was over. Divorce was her only path to freedom. In early August, Emily met with an attorney, her resolve hardening. She filed divorce papers, a bold declaration of her independence. She planned to sell their shared home, severing the final tie to a life that had become a prison. On August 16, 2023, she took her bravest step yet. With her heart pounding, she drove to James's workplace and handed him the divorce papers herself. Their exchange was brief, her voice steady as she told him the marriage was done and the house would be sold. She walked away, a mix of relief and dread swirling inside her, unaware that she'd just lit the fuse of a catastrophe. The morning of August 17, 2023, dawned like any other in Willow Creek. Maple Lane was quiet, the neighborhood stirring with the rhythms of daily life. But inside Emily's home, a storm was breaking. James arrived unannounced, his presence a blatant violation of the restraining order. What started as a heated argument spiraled into horror. Words turned to shouts, and then, in a heartbeat, to violence. James rifled through Emily's drawer, his hands closing around her Glock pistol. Emily, sensing the shift, fled to her bedroom, locking the door behind her. Her heart raced as she fumbled for her phone, her mind screaming for a way out. But James was relentless. He smashed through the door, his rage a tidal wave. Emily scrambled toward the window, her fingers clawing at the frame, desperate to escape. She was inches from freedom when the first shot rang out. 15 bullets. 15 searing, merciless shots tore through her body, her head, her shoulder, her thigh. The medical examiner would later describe the wounds as a map of unimaginable violence, each one a testament to James's intent. Emily collapsed, her dreams, her fight, her light snuffed out in a matter of seconds. James fled in his maroon SUV, leaving chaos in his wake. Neighbors, jolted by the gunfire, called 911. Police and paramedics descended on Maple Lane, but it was too late. Emily Grace Harper was gone. The scene they found was a tableau of despair, a broken door, shell casings scattered like confetti, and Emily's body slumped near the window, her final act a bid for survival that came up short. The investigation moved swiftly. Police recovered the Glock, confirmed as Emily's own, now a tool of her destruction. Witnesses reported seeing James's SUV speeding away, their accounts anchoring him to the crime. By August 18, less than 24 hours later, officers tracked him to his mother's house. He surrendered without a fight, his face a mask of defiance and guilt. In custody, James's story unraveled. He admitted to the shooting, claiming he'd snapped after receiving the divorce papers, a confession that reeked of premeditation, not impulse. But as the evidence mounted, he shifted gears, calling it an accident. The 15 gunshots, the broken door, the restraining order he'd ignored, they told a different story. Prosecutors charged him with open murder and felony firearm offenses, setting the stage for a trial that would lay bare his crimes. At his arraignment, James pleaded not guilty, despite his earlier admissions. The judge, unmoved by his denials, denied bond, citing the gravity of the charges and his flight risk. On September 5, a preliminary hearing sealed his fate. The medical examiner's report, the forensic evidence, the witness testimonies, they formed an ironclad case. James was bound over for trial, his claims of accident crumbling against the weight of the truth. The ripples of Emily's death spread far beyond Maple Lane. Her children, Sarah, Michael, and Lily, were left adrift, their mother's absence a wound that would never fully heal. Sarah faced graduation without her biggest cheerleader. Michael stepped into college without her guidance. Lily, still a teen, grappled with a world that felt emptier, colder. Laura, their aunt, stepped in, piecing together a safety net for them, but no one could replace Emily's boundless love. Willow Creek rallied around them. A GoFundMe campaign swelled with donations, strangers moved by Emily's story. Vigils lit up the night, candles flickering as mourners honored her life and grappled with their grief. Advocacy groups seized on her case, spotlighting the gaps in victim protection. Restraining orders, they argued, were too often toothless without stronger enforcement. Firearm access for abusers, like James, needed tighter controls. Police reviewed their protocols, searching for ways to better shield those at risk. Emily's story became a clarion call. Domestic violence organizations used it to teach warning signs: control, isolation, escalation, urging people to act before it's too late. Her life, her courage, her loss, they fueled a movement to save others from her fate. Every conversation sparked, every lesson learned, every step toward change became her legacy. This story isn't easy to hear. It's raw, wrenching, real. But it's vital. If Emily's journey has stirred something in you, share it. Support Crime Chronicles Uncovered by subscribing and spreading the word. More than that, act. Call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 if you or someone you know needs help. Volunteer, donate, learn. Let Emily's memory be a beacon, guiding others to safety. Because no one else should have to walk her path.